This is a first. Someone is submitting an interview that they made with their father. I hope this is a trend that continues.
Hey, I'm with the Seminary Teacher from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I'll let him introduce himself.
My name is Chad Conrad, and I am from Manhattan Beach, California, but I have lived in Utah for 16 of the last 20 years.
Okay. Some questions that we have to ask you is, our first one is, what are your dreams?
Well, since I was a very young man, I've had two passions in life. One was soccer, and the other acting. I have always loved soccer and everything about soccer, and I've always loved drama and theater and going to theater and being in plays. So those have been my passions, and my dreams were both connected with those. The first one was when I was really little, I thought, I'll grow up and be a professional soccer player. But the more I got into soccer, the more I realized that I wasn't really very good. I enjoyed it, I just wasn't good at it. But I started coaching as a young teenager. I coached my little brother's peewee team and just decided that I was better at coaching than I was at playing. And so I really enjoyed that. But then I also started refereeing soccer. And it didn't take me long to realize that I was a way better referee than I was a player or a coach. I also had my passion of acting, and I pursued that. I wasn't as good as an actor as I was a soccer referee, but I loved it. I've always been a ham, and I loved being on the stage. I think that's probably why I ended up being a teacher. But I was good enough that I could get parts in plays, and eventually I found my niche at the Hale Center Theater in Orem, Utah. It's just a community theater, but it's actually pretty good community theater. And so one of my dreams was to work up to one day I could become a lead in a play and actually be a star. So that was my dream with acting. And then something happened. I was walking along a piece of grass, and I don't remember where I was going to, where I was coming from, but I can still see in my mind where I was walking along this little patch of grass. And I was very peacefully contemplating my life and contemplating the direction of my life. And all of a sudden, I had an epiphany. It's the best way I can describe it for people to understand. And in that moment, and it was just a moment, it was an instant, I came to a realization that I had to give up my dream of being a professional soccer referee and of being a lead in a play, and give up my two biggest passions, acting and soccer. I knew for me right then, right there, this is what I had to do, was give them up. And so I did. And I continued walking along that little patch of grass, whatever it was, but now I was a different person. And I was no longer on the path to accomplish these dreams of mine. And there was no sadness, there was no regret, there was nothing. It was like a chapter of my life that came to an end. And it was like I could almost intuit that a new chapter was beginning, but I didn't realize what it was. But shortly after that, within months of that experience, I met a young woman named Stacy, and we fell in love, and we got married, and we started having kids. And as soon as we started, it was like we couldn't stop. And we had one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. Before we were done, we had 8 beautiful, amazing kids that were developing their own interests in life. And our new dream as parents became helping our children develop their talents and interests. And we decided early on that we didn't want to predetermine the direction that our children went in their lives. So we wanted to expose them as kids, as little kids, to as many different interests as we could. And if I were to give one piece of advice to young people starting out in life, teenagers, young adults, it would be something like this, that in order to have a successful, happy, fulfilled life, you need to find passions in your life. You need to find things that get you excited, things that give you a reason to get up in the morning. Saturday mornings, I used to get up and I could smell the cut grass as soon as I opened my eyes and looked out the window. Before I could even smell it with my senses, I could smell it in my mind. And I knew I was going to be out on the field playing soccer or reffing soccer, and it gave me a reason to want to get up and face the day. And it's important to have passions like that. They push you to your limits, to discover your weaknesses and to discover challenges that you can overcome, and you become a stronger person as you pursue them. And the real development and value and joy is always in the journey rather than in the accomplishment. But it's having that dream that pushes you forward. And so you need to find those in your life. But then my advice would be to keep an open mind and to be open to the people around you. Because in the end, it's not pursuing your own passion that will bring the greatest joy and happiness in your life. It's learning how to sacrifice your interests, your desires, your passions for other people. And that's what marriage and children rearing offers you, the opportunity to totally sacrifice your own desires and interests for the well-being of someone else. First, with a spouse, where you learn to put the other person's desires and interests way ahead of your own. And if you do that, then that invites them to do the same for you. And then you can create a partnership that you can welcome children into. And then you learn to sacrifice your mutual interests for those of your children. And then you find a joy in seeing your children pursue their dreams and find accomplishments in their lives and becoming their best selves that goes way beyond anything you would have ever done with your own life. And that's where true fulfillment and happiness lie. And that's my advice. And my greatest advice of all is, whatever your own personal religious sentiments might be, to keep a place open for the possibility of God in your life. Because over and over again, what I have discovered is that God can make more of your life than you ever could on your own. And that's what He's done for me. God bless you.
Okay.